for everyone watching right now, if Trump wins Pennsylvania in those 19 electoral votes, it's over. They can't win without
Yes.
Pennsylvania. And I know the media tries to create these paths where, she creates a new state or something. But the reality is, I mean, I want to go back to this point because I don't want to dwell on it. But the point about Jill Stein and being on the ballot is so critical because that's what made the difference in 2016. People who are voting for a Green Party are likely, if that choice was taken away, would probably vote for Kamala Harris. And so it's a big deal that she's back on these key ballots. I don't think that can be overstated. Scott, let me just ask you, so you guys are focusing a lot on the registering of people. How
Yes.
long can you keep doing that in the state of Pennsylvania?
The deadline to register to vote in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania is October 21st.
Okay.
October 21st is the deadline, and the deadline to request a mail-in ballot is October 29th. However, to you at home, if you're a truck driver, member of the military, pilot, a flight attendant, if you have a job that you possibly could have your flight canceled by Pete Buttigieg and have your luggage stolen then by Joe Biden's staff, then please, I beg you, if it's a possibility that your transportation might be delayed going into Tuesday, November 5th, you must vote early or you must vote by mail. We cannot leave it to chance for you to lock in your vote, especially in the swing states. And so here's the most important thing, though. Don't wait until October 29th to request your mail-in ballot. Your mail-in ballot request are processed in the order that they are received. So if the Democrats process all of theirs first and you wait until the 29th to do yours, your ballot may not be sent to you, delivered to your house. Let's say that you're in Florida, but you live in Pennsylvania. You may not get it until November 1st, until November 2nd. And then you're going to have your mail-in ballot be delivered by 8 p.m. on Tuesday, November 5th in order for it to be accepted legally. So please do not delay in getting your mail-in ballot if that is your choice.
It sounds like an infomercial. Your order will be processed in the order it was returned. Operators are standing by, but do not delay. So is that, you mentioned getting the ballot in by November 5th, right? Is that a change from last cycle? Because I remember last cycle in Pennsylvania, there was this whole uproar about them taking ballots like at Christmas time.
They must be postmarked Tuesday, November 5th. They must be postmarked. Now, there's some lawsuits going on over whether or not the outside envelopes, which must be signed, a court ruled that they had to have the actual date being November 5th or before in order to be accepted. But of course, Mark Elias and his people got it.
Super
so
lawyer.
even if they put their birthday, even if they put the wrong date, as long as it's postmarked, it will still be accepted.
Okay, but it has to get in there regardless by
November 5th by 8 p.m. Tuesday,
okay.
November
5th. So it by election day, if your ballot doesn't get there, then it doesn't matter. So if it gets there on the 6th, but it was postmarked, does it count?
I will have to look into that to make sure. I don't want to say something wrong to your audience.
No, I appreciate that. The point is act early, right? Get it done, yes. And that way you don't have to worry about it. But this is the shenanigans that they play with. And I brought this up with Mackenzie. I brought it up with Bresnahan. I think that, we saw this last time with Trump, that he has a big election day score run up, and then they swamp the vote after that. And I think part of what we need to do on the right is just get those ballots, get them in, make sure that the run up the score so big in Pennsylvania, because this is where it's going to come down to. So once you get these folks registered, what's the next step in making sure that they actually cast a ballot?
So we follow up with them. Every person that we register to vote, we have an entire file of those people, the thousands of people that we have added to the voter rolls. And so we contact them. The majority of people, we get to leave their cell phone, their email address, and of course we have their home address. So, hey, Sean, I registered you to vote outside of Cabela's. I know that Second Amendment rights and hunting rights are important to you as a hunter, and a state where of the 930,000 people, 30% of Pennsylvania hunters are not registered to vote. Do you have a plan to vote? Do you have a ride to the polls? Would you like to vote early? I know that hunting season is upon us. If you want to go out and be in a blind and go hunt deer all day, why don't you vote early? Why don't you bring some of your hunting buddies with you to vote early? And so, really, this is about following up and following through with people. We are not done registering a voter until that voter has been actualized and mobilized to the polls.
Yeah.
And so, in Pennsylvania, of course, you can vote on Tuesday, November 5th. Of course, you can vote by mail. But something that nobody's talking about, which is very critical, is we have in-person voting per se. What I mean by that is you can vote a mail-in ballot in person. It's still called voting by mail, but you're doing it in person at your Bureau of Elections. And the way that it's done is mail-in ballots supposedly are able to be sent out by September 15th. In-person mail-in voting is going to start by October 15th. Now, this is why this is so important. A lot of people, Sean, I have heard, are being moved from active to inactive, or they're not registered to vote. So you at home, I don't care if you just voted this year. I don't care if you just voted in an August Florida primary. Please listen to me. Check your voter status right after you're done listening to the Sean Spicer Show. Please check your voter status. Type into the internet, Florida, check voter registration. Pennsylvania, check voter registration. Any website that ends with gov, meaning government, is good. Any website that ends with org is probably a Democrat website. So please check your website, check your status to make sure that you're an active voter registered at your current address with your preferred party in a state like Arizona, Nevada, Florida, Pennsylvania, California, etc. It is imperative. Now, here's why. One last layer. Let's say that you're not registered to vote, but you listen to me on the Sean Spicer Show and you voted early. If you vote on October 15th, which is prior to the deadline on October 21st, and they say to you, but Sean, you're not registered to vote. Because you went to vote early, you have time to rectify that issue. You still have time prior to the October 21st deadline to register to vote at your current address and fix the problem. Versus showing up on Tuesday, November 5th, oh, I'm so sorry, Sean. You're not registered to vote. I can't help you. Vote a provisional, which isn't going to count. And that's why early voting is imperative.
So how many, I mean, is this a widespread problem?
Yes.
No,
Yes.
what, in Pennsylvania or nationwide?
Nationwide.
But I thought the Dems were trying to get, so who's creating this problem?
That's a great question. I can't answer that for
but
you.
So if I go to vote right now, are you telling me that I should just go cast my vote early so that it's locked in and they can't screw with it?
Yes.
Okay. So as soon as early voting starts in my state. And by the way, on SeanSpicer.com, I have a link under resources that has a list of every state. So if you're wondering what state your state deadline is, just go to SeanSpicer.com. You'll see that resource tab at the top. So I want to just go in Pennsylvania, cast that vote, and then there's no way they can screw with me, right?
Lock it in. So that way, if you go to vote on Tuesday, November 5th, they can't say,
but that, just so we're clear, you want people to do that in lieu of voting on November 5th. Get it done, right?
Yeah. Yes. What I'm saying is the likelihood of something going wrong will be prevented if you lock in your vote early.
Okay. So right now, when does early voting start in Pennsylvania again?
Usually around October 15th, you may visit your Board of Elections. So contact whatever county you're in, Westmoreland County Board of Elections. Ask them what is the first date that you can come in to do in-person mail-in voting.
Okay, so in-person mail-in voting, I just want to be clear, because in Virginia, where I live, there's mail-in voting. You get the ballot, you send it back in, or you can go to either, I think City Hall has a voting location, and there's like one other one, and you go in and cast your ballot as if it were election day. You put it in the scanner, the whole deal. In Pennsylvania, do you have to get the mail-in ballot first and then go cast it, or do you literally go in person and cast your vote?
You can go in person, and they will print it for you on demand. In-person mail-in ballot.
Okay. See, because we do it, we get the thing, and then we fill out the little things and put it in the scanner, as if
Yep.
we're voting. You literally fill in the mail-in ballot and then hand it back to them.
Correct. So
Okay.
go to my Bureau of Elections. I say, I'm here to vote in early mail-in ballot. They will ask me what my precinct is, make sure it's the correct ballot. They will print off a ballot for me. I will fill it out in secrecy. I will give my ballot back to them in person, a mail-in paper ballot that was printed on demand at my local Bureau of Elections.
Well, if you enjoyed this content, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and click the notification bell to get more.